Hey, hi, hello, how are you? I'm Pia. Today I'm going to be doing a book recommendation video about some of my favorite romances in some books that I've read. As it is now February and Valentine's Day is fastly, is that a word? I find that in February I love to read a little bit of romance, so I have some different genres here to talk about. Some fantasy, sci-fi, and obviously contemporary. The first one I have here is a historical fiction with one of my favorite romances, and that is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. I feel like I haven't talked about this in a really long time. This is one of my favorite male romances that I have read, featuring a sassy main character from the 1800s or 1700s who's going on a trip. He is going with this guy who he's his best friend and he's secretly in love with him, and it's just so fun. Such a fun book and such a great romance. Next up, I have a fantasy recommendation, and this is, I think, in my opinion at least, a fantasy romance series, and the first book is Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. I loved this series so much when I read it, and I swooned so much, and I literally could not get this romance out of my head. It is such an interesting and enthralling story that is so beautifully magical and beautifully written. Next up here, I have a contemporary, and this is Tosh Heart's Tolstoy by Catherine Ormsby. This features a asexual main character, and she is a filmmaker, so that is at the forefront of the story. Not as much of her sexuality, but it is discussed, and there is a very cute little romance. Next, I have another actual romance, and this is Attachments by Rainbow Rowell. This is an adult romance. Long coming romance, or like love from afar kind of thing happening with this guy who basically has to read emails, and that's his job for this company, and he develops a huge ass crush on one of the women he reads the emails from. Really good, really cute. Next up I have here, is this a fantasy? I guess this is a fantasy, and that is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This has such a good romance. I feel like I'm just blushing so much in this video. It is one of the best books ever. This was not on my... Oh my god. You know what's the problem with making like favorite books videos is that I always forget some. It is so magical and so dark and so good. I almost forgot this again because I forget everything. And this is a sci-fi with a very cute romance, and that is The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. This is an incredible story just on its own, but the romance for me just, ooh, I cried. Next up here I have a contemporary, and that is Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welch. I read this a while ago before I started BookTube and before I kind of became more of a critical reader. I'm still getting better at being more critical, but I don't like fully know how good this is, but I think I just remember it being a very sweet, fast little love story. Next up is probably one of my favorite ones out of this pile. Night of Cake and Puppets by Laini Taylor. I've read this twice, and this is so beautiful. This is a companion novel to the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series, but I actually read it before I read the series. It's basically just one night, and it's this kind of like treasure map to find me, and it's like cute little lovey people, and I just I'm not describing this well because I just feel like it's just so cute and such a quick read. Next up here I have another male romance, and that is Autobiography by Christina Lauren. I really enjoyed this book when I read it, especially since it not only has a fantastic romance with a little bit of a age difference, but it also focuses on writing and writing a book, and also coming out, and also the Mormon church, and a lot of things going on, a lot of hard-hitting elements, as well as a just beautiful like two people just falling in love. I have another contemporary here, and that is Words in Deep Blue by Kath Crowley. I would definitely count this as a young adult romance. This is a beautiful book about not only a very cute like longtime best friend crush situation, as well as a love for books and family and a lot of fun stuff. It's a lot about books, it's really fun, and there's actually like two romances going on, and I cried. Next up here we have a little bit of a love triangle situation going on, and that is The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli. The main character suffers from anxiety and is a little plus-size main character, which I love, and it's kind of her like never having a boyfriend ever, but all of a sudden she's like, I have 2 crushes at the same time. I loved it so much. I tabbed this. I don't tab a lot of books unless I really love them, but I felt very identified with by this book, and it was so cute, and I was like, oh my god, I can have a boyfriend one day, like, whoa. Here we are. Okay, so the second to last book I have here is my last contemporary on this list, and that is Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. I think Rainbow Rowell writes some of the best romances, and this one was particularly amazing. I actually haven't read a lot of Rainbow Rowell's writing, but the ones that I've read I've really liked. And this is just so cute. It's set in the 80s. It's 2 misfits coming together. It's like a star-crossed lover situation, but it's in the 80s. They like share a mixtape, and it's just like so good. Also up here I have a book that will come as no surprise to any of you, and that is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. Laini Taylor's fantasies are not only amazing just in the world building and the characters and the story itself, but she packs a hell of a good romance in here as well, and doesn't manage to make it the forefront of the story, which I enjoy, because it's like the world's ending because of all of these like supernatural things, and then also I love you, and I'm like, oh my god. Anyways, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you all have a fantastic and safe Valentine's Day. I almost said safe wrong, but it's fine. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!